Assemblymember Gonzalez-Rojas, thank you for coming to Picks on Politics.
Thank you so much for having me.
So as a state leader representing Queens, let's just start with your 10,000-foot reaction here to the city's plan to change its sheltering rules and policies. The mayor says it'll lead to more people sleeping on the streets. Your thoughts?
Well, this is cruel and inhumane. I represent a immigrant-rich district, and I know that immigrants contribute so much to our city, our state, and our country, to our economy, to the resiliency and vibrancy of our neighborhoods. Throwing people and throwing families in particular and children out in the street is simply just wrong. And, we know that families that are going to be disrupted, it's going to impact access to education for thousands of migrant children. It's going to impact access to community-based services that they're relying on. And it's going to impact access to the important mail they need to receive for their asylum cases to proceed.
So let's focus on what the state can do about this. You, of course, being a state lawmaker. The governor, let's start there, seems to somewhat agree with this move and has made comments to that effect about the right to shelter. Do you think this will impact how much money the city receives, and what can the state do here?
Well, in our last state budget, we allocated $1 billion to assist the city with providing these important resources to our newest New Yorkers. I do believe we should invest in additional funding to make sure that we're shoring up resources to get families the social services support, the legal support, and the housing support that they need. One thing I'm doing as well is working with colleagues in government, both city and state government, to ask the Biden administration to extend TPS, which is temporary protective status, that allows these migrants to work, to not just Venezuelans. We're really grateful for the extension of TPS to Venezuelan communities, which are about 40% of the population. But there's still another 60% of people from other countries, places like Colombia and Ecuador and Sudan and Mauritania, that also need opportunity to work. Listen, the people who are here, they're trying to make a home here, and they desperately want to contribute, and the ability to work would be critical in addressing the housing crisis that we're facing.
With the Biden administration coming up short with the TPS that it did allow for Venezuelans who are already here, never mind new Venezuelans, and not other countries, that's the policy you're talking about. There was some momentum before that Venezuelan announcement for a state-level specific worker program. Are those conversations ongoing, or did they end when the Biden administration at least gave some relief?
I believe they're still ongoing. We're currently out of legislative session, but I know it's been a pretty hot topic. And as state legislators, we want to address this with solutions that will address the crisis. We know that, again, these families are our newest New Yorkers, our newest neighbors, and they desperately want to be self-sufficient. So we need to come up with solutions. And if the federal government's not doing it, we want to do it at the state level.
Is one of those solutions a statewide decompression strategy, enforcing at the state level other communities which have not wanted to take migrants, forcing them to take at least some migrants, perhaps with some state funding and other accommodations? I mean, there's a discussion to be had, but is part of the solution here to spread the wealth outside New York City?
I think it's important to note that many areas are having a lack of a need for greater workers. So we know that getting our newest New Yorkers to other part of the state to fill important jobs that are desperately needed is a win-win for our entire state and for our economy. But it is about making sure that our folks can be able to work, and that they're able to work not just in New York City, but other parts of the state. It is a duty not just on the city, but also the state to care for our newest New Yorkers, who I'm reminding all that they are seeking asylum, which is a legal process here in the United States.
Before you go, I did want to move on to another topic that I know is near and dear to you. The governor recently signed legislation that you sponsored providing Medicaid coverage for violence response services, including gun violence. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yes, every time I get a call from the police department informing me of a shooting in my neighborhood or a family that's been impacted by gun violence, it's really heart-wrenching. We wanted to address solutions that treated it as the public health crisis that it is. So now we will be able to, and I was thrilled that the bill recently got signed into law, that would allow for Medicaid to reimburse these important community violence prevention programs to make sure that we're treating the patient, say someone who's victim of gun violence, not just patching up the wound, but connecting them to services like crisis intervention and community resolution services that the important community-based violence prevention organizations provide. So it's connecting them right at the hospital when they need both the medical care and the community-based care, and making sure those programs are reimbursed by Medicaid, making it a public health solution.
So previously, the hospital visit, the bandages, the doctor services would have been covered, but maybe not treatment for PTSD, for example. Is that what you're talking about?
Well, it's also some treatment, but it's also about connecting them to intervention services, right? So getting folks that might have been in a gang violence situation, that they're able to get connected to a community-based violence prevention services that often use credible messengers and are able to do conflict resolution
To prevent the violence in the first place. That's what you're saying. Assemblymember, I hate to cut you off because I can tell you're passionate about this, but thank you for coming on Picks on Politics. I hope you come back and have a great morning.
Thanks for having me.